A 22-year-old Canadian man from Vancouver has been detained in Georgia. The family of Simon Rovensky says he was arrested after entering the country with his ADHD medication. It had been prescribed by a Canadian doctor, but in Georgia, authorities require the medication to be transported in its original packaging and accompanied by a doctor's prescription. And Rovensky's family says that he was unaware of those rules and he did not have the necessary documentation with him. They say that he has been charged with large-scale smuggling, as well as the illegal acquisition and possession of narcotic substances. I want to bring in Simon Rovensky's sister, Nika. Nika, thank you so much for being on the program.
Thank you for having me.
So I understand that your brother's now been imprisoned in Georgia. And just so anybody watching who might be confused, we're talking about Georgia, the country. We're not talking about the state of Georgia, Georgia, the country. And he's been now imprisoned there for a month. How are you holding up?
Well, obviously, it's been a huge strain on myself and my family. Like my mom had to go to the hospital with like chest pains because she was receiving so much anxiety, and myself, I mean, it's 3 a.m. where I am, and I'm still helping with this case. So it's been really difficult for all of us.
Nika, how did you find out about your brother's situation?
I received a frantic text from him when he was taken in for questioning at the airport. He was traveling with 1 bottle of prescribed Adderall. It was in an orange pharmacy container with his name on it, his doctor's name on it, and the name of the medication that he had. He showed the officers the receipt from the pharmacy, but they didn't accept that as evidence. They said that he had to have a apostilled prescription with him, which he didn't have a physical printout of. And so they took him in prison, and we lost contact with him. Like, he was subject to 7 hours of interrogation with his friend before they were separated. And then we completely lost contact with him for 48 hours. We had no idea if he was being hurt or where he was in the country. So it was obviously extremely scary for our whole family.
And when's the last time that you heard from him, and how is he doing as far as you know?
He's obviously not doing well. I mean, he's in Gladani prison number 8, which has been associated with the torture and the sexual abuse of prisoners. So it's a very scary place to be. He's being held in a cell with 6 other people who are convicted criminals. My brother hasn't been convicted of a crime. He's awaiting his court date, and he was told that he would be awaiting his court date for 2 months in prison. So he has not been convicted of anything. And we have already sent the apostilled prescription to the prosecution. They've accepted into evidence, but they're saying because he didn't have it with him at the time in the airport that he had committed a crime.
Now, he has the medication, the Adderall, because he has ADHD, and I'm assuming he's not able to have this medication, obviously, while he's in prison. How is that affecting him?
He's not doing well. Like, my brother is the type that he would never, complain or anything about it, but like it comes through. He tells us that he's not doing well too mentally. He's kept in the cell for 23 hours a day. Like, he's only allowed out for an hour a day. He just stares at like white walls all day, and obviously without his medication, he's not doing well. So,
yeah. I mean, I asked that because, I was asking that because if he took the trouble to make sure he had it with him, it's obviously something that he relies on.
Yes, and I mean, he made an innocent mistake that could happen to anybody, like it was prescribed medication, and it's medication that's very, prescribed widely in Canada. So him just traveling and not thinking twice about it, it was his mistake, but what happened next was just insane. Like, the fact that he's looking at 12 to 20 years in prison, and tens of thousands of dollars as a fine is completely crazy. So, yeah, we're working to get him out.
So from your perspective, and where you are obviously trying to help from Vancouver, are you getting government assistance, or where does that stand? Do you feel like you're getting enough help to try and help this case work its way through?
No, absolutely not. Like, we've been really frustrated with the government of Canada's response. I mean, it took them 14 days just to perform a wellness check on my brother to make sure that he was okay that his conditions were okay, that his human rights weren't being violated, 14 days. And at that point, we had already established contact. We had hired a lawyer. We had already been sending letters to him. And it took them another week to send an email just acknowledging that he was okay. Like, we haven't been able to talk to anybody from the embassy live. We've only been able to email them. And we've even asked them for help with things like getting his criminal record check from Canada to prove that he doesn't have a criminal record. And they said they weren't able to assist with that. They referred us to the RCMP, who then told us that he would have to provide fingerprints. But this was obviously impossible since he was in jail and they didn't have any recognized partners in Georgia. So he wasn't able to get a criminal record check. And we wanted to get the prescription to get it apostilled from the doctor. And the doctor told us that he couldn't send it to us because of patient confidentiality. So we had to go and physically print out consent forms for my brother to sign, which took another, week to fill out between all the back and forth. And so they've really been of no help, unfortunately.
Nika, I can tell that this is a hard conversation to have and how worried you are for your brother. Let me just end this by talking maybe positively about Simon. What should people know about him and why was he going to Georgia?
Simon came initially to visit me in Turkey for his birthday, and he was going to be here to celebrate my birthday. I'm on exchange here, and so he just wanted to be together to celebrate. And his friend was living in Georgia, so he went to visit him because it was close by. It was just, a quick trip, and he was just traveling with this medication because, of course, he was taking it. And I really want to, let this be a warning to the other Canadians out there that might be traveling with their ADHD medication, facing these, very severe penalties and years in prison. Like, it's not okay. And I really hope that more is done from the government to help.
Nika Rovensky is Simon Rovensky's sister, joining us from Turkey. Thank you so much for taking the time and good luck.
Thank you.